Okay, so this is the third video of the series on driving a Fusion 360 assembly from a gaming controller. This is where we now start piecing everything together. So we need some code first of all for enabling us to drive the joints in the assembly. And if I go to utilities and add-ins, I've got my Python script written, which I'll just edit, and we'll have a quick look. I will download all this and put all the links to all the code, the links to where I've downloaded various applications, and I'll put all this on the comments under the YouTube video. So this is the code, the Python code loading. I borrowed this from acadam-e of Autodesk, who wrote this way back in 2016. If you Google drive robot arm in Fusion and look at the update page, he's written code for driving joints in your assembly from the keyboard. So I've used this code to start off with, and that's what we're actually got in the code that I'm using at the moment. So the thing here is that we're actually driving from a keyboard. Well, I want to drive from my gaming controller. So the next thing I need is an application that we can download from the Windows apps called Anti-Micro. And what this does is this maps keys on your keyboard to the buttons on the gaming controller. As long as you've got the gaming controller plugged in, once you install the Anti-Micro, it will find that gaming controller. Then all you've got to do is map the keys. So if I run that up and just use my gaming controller, you can see as I move the stick on the gaming controller or press any buttons on the gaming controller, it highlights what keys are actually used, or what keys are pressed on the keyboard in effect. You can edit these quite easily by just clicking on one of these buttons and then telling it what you actually want to put in there. The thing you've got to be careful with is the fact that there are certain reserved keys in Fusion 360. So if you Google Fusion 360 keyboard shortcuts, this will give you a list of the keyboard shortcuts that you need to avoid when using this technique from Anti-Micro. So just be aware of that. So download your Anti-Micro. All you've got to do then is run it. Assign the keys, save those keys should you wish, and then just minimize it. And then that is just left running in the background, so that whenever you press any key, whenever you use anything on your gaming controller, it presses that key in on the keyboard. So now that we've got that, if I run my code, I'm just using a Visual Studio Code here. You can run it directly from Fusion 360 if you wish. But when you edit your code in Fusion 360, it actually starts up, or installs if necessary, and starts up Visual Studio Code where you would edit it and you can debug in here and so on. So if I now go into my Fusion, you'll notice as I run that code, it brings up my the dialog box that was produced by Autodesk in this example, which I've left alone. I've just added a few bits in here about the usage. And then as we move the key, the joystick, it presses that button on the keyboard, and because my code is looking at button presses, then whenever I press that button, whenever I move use anything on the joystick and press the button, it actually presses a key on the keyboard, and then that is grabbed by the code in Fusion and moves the assembly, or the joints in the assembly, accordingly. Quite a lot to go through here, as you can imagine, but I will put everything in the comments below the YouTube video, and possibly in the future, depending on feedback, might do a fourth video on digging deeper into the code. So yeah, thank you very much.